Good Wednesday morning, Marion KY. Today's newscast is brought to you by Crittenden Community Hospital. Its outpatient therapy clinic provides patients with convenient physical and occupational therapy. If you're facing surgery or if you're recovering from an injury, just ask your primary care provider for referral. And you can see the caring staff here at Crittenden Community Hospital right in Marion, Kentucky. Additionally, this morning's newscast is brought to you by Crittenden County Board of Elections. That Board of Elections wants to encourage you to get out and vote early. You have an opportunity October 31st and November 1st and November 2nd. 3 days to get out and do some early voting. Go to those polls, avoid the lines. You'll have to go to the Crittenden County office complex to do this. You can't vote out in your precinct, but those polls are open 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. October 31st, November 1st, and November 2nd. In news this morning, want to give you a heads up on something that's going on next week at the lawn of the current Crittenden County Courthouse, which is getting ready to be torn down, as most of you know, to make way for a new Justice Center. So to kick off construction of that new facility, there will be a formal dedication ceremony on Tuesday, starting at 1 p.m. That will be on the lawn there of the courthouse on Main Street. There will be a number of dignitaries there from across the state, judges, folks from the Justice Cabinet, which the Justice Cabinet is paying for this new Justice Center to be built. As you know, the county offices that were at the courthouse have moved out to what's called the county office complex now out at the former Marion Ed Tech Center. So that formal ceremony to celebrate the beginning of the new era of the Marion Justice Center will begin at 1 p.m. It'll last about an hour, and then afterwards there will be a reception down at the Venue, which is a former Marion Women's Club there on Carlisle Street. Everybody's invited to attend that. Will be a nice fair, and a lot of people will be in town for that. You may see it when you drive by next Tuesday if you choose not to stop in. Also in news this week, we have extensive articles on the county judges race down in Livingston County. You have Terry Swanson, who is the sitting judge, who was appointed last January by the governor to fill in for an unexpired term when Garrett Gruber suddenly resigned that office just a year into his term. So Terry Swanson is the Democrat running. On the Republican side is Michael Williams, a former lawman down in Livingston County. We have, again, profiles on these candidates, individual candidates, in this week's Crittenden Press. You want to grab that to make sure you are election ready, educated, and know how to cast your vote when you step into the ballot box in the coming days. Speaking of ballot boxes, Crittenden County Clerk Darrell Tabor is here to explain how there are fewer voters certified to cast ballots in the upcoming presidential election.
Crittenden County has almost 400 fewer voters eligible for the presidential election than in 2020, thanks to efforts to clean up voter rolls across the state. In an interview with WEKU Radio, Secretary of State Michael Adams said statewide that number is about 21,000 fewer. The majority of those voters are removed from the roll. They are deceased, he explained, but they're also removed for felony convictions, moving to another state, or because they've been declared incompetent. Locally, our election clerk, Donna Shoecraft, meticulously updates and maintains our voter registration system to keep it current. Counties are not allowed to remove voters themselves, but keeping accurate records allows the state to safely remove names that should no longer be on the rolls. For this election, there are 6,379 eligible Crittenden County voters. That's down from 6,760 in 2020. That's a difference of 381 voters. And as a reminder, Friday is the deadline to file as a write-in candidate for Marion City Council or any other local race. So that will be at 4 o'clock on Friday. the deadline.
And remind us, Daryl, the excused voting and unexcused early voting begins, I believe the excused voting begins later this week, right?
The excused voting actually starts today, Wednesday. That's for people who need an excuse that they're not going to be here for early voting or on election day. They can come in, vote in our office, and that will be on the machines, marking your own ballot just like you would on election day. Early voting, which is no excuse, anyone can come vote here at the county office complex. That starts on Halloween and continues on Friday and Saturday of next week. So that's October 31st through November 2nd. And then, of course, Election Day is November 5th, 6 to 6.
And I know you're encouraging people to get out early and cast those ballots on some of those early voting days to maybe avoid some congestion, long lines.
Yes, the county office complex being a voting center and the only location for city voters to cast a ballot. If you can get out on those 3 days of early voting, I would highly advise it. You're less likely to have to wait in line. Those hours are 8 to 4. And if we could get 50% of the people who are going to vote in this election to come across those 3 days, then election day is going to be a lot smoother for everybody.
Mm-hmm. And I know elections have been under a lot of scrutiny the last few years, and this year we've just been getting more and more information out of your office and out of Frankfort as well, and that's all, I assume, designed to show that these elections are trustworthy and accurate.
Yes, we want to be as transparent as possible from beginning to end. If anybody has any questions, we want to be able to answer those ahead of time, or if we don't answer it ahead of time, they're welcome to call our office and ask any questions they may have.
All right. I appreciate your work that you do for these elections and all you do for the county. Thank you, Daryl. The Crittenden-Livingston Water District learned this week that it will be getting just over $400,000 from the Delta Regional Authority, which will help it build a new clear well down at the plant, which is on the Cumberland River there in Pinckneyville, just south of Salem in rural Livingston County. This money will help add more capacity, storage capacity, that is, of water. As you know, it's been in the news quite frequently lately. The Crittenden-Livingston Water District is expanding from a 2 million gallon a day water treatment plant to a 4 million gallon a day plant. And in Marion, there are only 5 candidates running for 6 seats on Marion City Council. Those were individuals who filed early and whose names will be on the ballot. However, you will have an option, actually multiple options, to write in candidates for Marion City Council. So far, 3 have filed their necessary paperwork to run as write-in candidates. Those are Nikki Conger, Eddie Lee Belt, and Frank Pierce. Now, when you step into the ballot box to cast your vote, you can vote for any or all of those write-in candidates or none of them. But there are 6 seats open on the city council and 5 names on the ballot. So you can only vote for registered write-ins, and right now there are just 3. The deadline to file for a write-in candidacy is 4 p.m. on Friday. You have to do that at the county clerk's office. And in sports, Crittenden County won its 7th straight 5th District Championship on Tuesday night, beating Livingston Central in straight sets down at Cadiz. Carly Porter, a Crittenden County senior, was named Player of the Year in the 5th District. And other Crittenden Countyans on the all-district team were Riley Kirby, Lila Shear, Brooke Winstead, Hannah Mott, and Mary Stevens. For Livingston Central, they had 3 Lady Cardinals who made the all-district team. That was Cadence Smith, Victoria Joyner, and Maggie Downey. Lady Rockets will now play in the regional tournament starting next week down at Christian County. And that's all for today's program. We want to remind you that we are doing these newscasts weekly, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And today's Broadcast has been brought to you by the Crittenden County Board of Elections, encouraging you to vote early October 31st, November 1st, or November 2nd from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Crittenden County Office Complex. Also remember that Crittenden Community Hospital's outpatient therapy clinics provide patients with convenient physical and occupational therapy. If you're facing surgery or if you're recovering from some kind of injury, ask your primary care provider, that's your doctor, for a referral to Crittenden Hospital's outpatient therapy clinic. This has been Chris Evans reporting for the Crittenden Press.